but which prospects are you most excited to see this upcoming season, especially in training camp and in rookie camp earlier in September?
I'm gonna lay my hat in the ring of a guy like Sam Poulin, just because it's a make or break year for him. It feels, doesn't it? It feels like this
Yeah.
is gotta be it. Something has to give, almost like P.O. Joseph, except P.O. Joseph, um, if he doesn't play this year, it could be a career thing. Whereas Poulin, he could probably still find a new home somewhere
Mhm.
if need be. He's still young. He still has his opportunities, but it just seems like he needs to really take the next step this year, whether it be just a game or two or three or four. He has to take that next step this year. I'm excited to see what he can do in the process leading up to getting those NHL games in and seeing where he's at in his progress, in his
Mhm.
um, growing into the NHL. I just want to see where he is because, well, yeah, we have AHL statistics and numbers. I, I don't pay that close of attention to it. I don't see really what's happening.
Mhm.
I just want to see what's happening and how he's doing and see what people are saying about it. So I'll be keeping an eye on him. He's supposed to be a top forward prospect for us.
Yeah, and I agree with that. He's actually on my list as well. I want to see what Poulin looks like after what happened to him last season. A really poor start in his first year in professional hockey, playing for the AHL's Wilkes-Barre Penguins, and then something clicked about halfway through the season, and you started to see more along the lines of what was expected from Sam Poulin, and more along the lines of what is expected for a first-round draft pick, albeit at the 21st overall selection. So I'm excited to see what growth he has taken in the offseason and see where he starts at the beginning of this season, considering how well he finished off last season with the Wilkes-Barre Penguins.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to see. We'll just hopefully he could pick up where he left off and
Mhm.
become a new sort of player and maybe be a threat for this team.
Another player I wanted to mention, and he is also on the forward side, is Lucas Svejkovsky. He's a fourth-round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins back in the 2020 NHL entry draft. He had a really good development camp back in June. A lot of people were mentioning how quick he is, how good his hands are. He has nice scoring ability and a nice instinct for scoring on the ice, and that's great, obviously, for a poor prospect. You'd like to see it. But a lot of people were mentioning that he was a highlight player in that camp. So I'm excited to see a little bit more of him because he is expected to play with Wilkes-Barre next season, similar to what we said with Poulin last year. He's making that jump to professional hockey. We'll see what he does against men. We'll see what he does in that secondary league of the AHL. We're not going to see him in Pittsburgh. I'll say this right now. You're not going to see him in Pittsburgh this year. Probably not next year. You might see him a little bit next year, but the year after, that's when you really kind of have to look at his prospectus as to when he's expected to be an impact player in the NHL or at least make the NHL. But I'm excited to see the jump that he takes this year. If you look at last season in the WHL, he had 76 points, including 35 goals in 56 games played between two teams, and then goes into the playoffs with the Seattle Thunderbirds and scored 28 points in 24 playoff games. Obviously, it is juniors. He is a player that is, aged out at this point, so
Yeah.
you're expecting him to play really well last season, but it was nice to see him succeed. It was nice to see him score in bunches, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do in Wilkes-Barre. And if he plays in that prospects game, see what he's able to do against the Bruins prospects on September 17th.